Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Tuesday, the 15th of March, 2016. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. Oh, and episode. I'm out of practice. It's episode 170, Rest in Pieces Ball Winder. So, how was your week? Mine was pretty good. I wasn't sick. I was kind of tired, but not sick, so that was nice. Did a lot of running around because it's spring, so my kids want to be outside all the time, which I am totally okay with it. And yeah, I don't know, it was a pretty good week. Not overly eventful. But my ball winder did break, not necessarily this past week, but sometime in that time when I was sick. My best friend was idly winding on it with nothing on it, and it just popped apart. So she took the whole thing apart to put it back together. She was like, it should work it should just work. And so I tried it. I started winding something and no, it popped apart again. So my ball winder is broken. I must just be really hard on ball winders. I don't know. Anyway, so the tube sock knit along, that ends at the end of this month. And chances are pretty good of winning the prize, which I will show you. It is poppy flower fibers from Boulder, Colorado, and it is 100% superwash merino, 400 yards in the Pooh Bear Redux colorway. So it's just really, really lovely purples and pinks and browns, and it's not really pinks, it's like raspberry. It's very, very pretty, but you could win this, so go make a pair of tube socks. There's plenty of time to cast on a pair right now, even if you wanted. There's no size requirement, no age requirement. It just has to be a sock without heels, and it has to be a pair of socks without heels. You can use whatever pattern you want. It doesn't have to be mine. Let's see, finished object. It's not really a finished object. It was finished last week, but I didn't have yardage for you, and I didn't have it completely wound off and washed. So here is the yarn from Fiber from Lorraine, and it ended up being 269 yards of, from the yellow is a bulky all the way down to a light fingering for the purple, because it varies greatly from end to end in weight and thickness. It is a progressive. It goes yellow to pink to purple, or purple pink to yellow, whichever way you want to go with it. And I don't know what it wants to do with its life except be very, very pretty. I worked on a lot of things though in the month since I last had a real podcast. First is the Len Jerry, which the white marker is where I was, and this was not a project I could work on when I was sick. I didn't want to mess up the lace because that's a lot of lace to have to take out. And this one will not be a full-sized thing. I'm knitting this as a sample for Leading Men Fiber Arts. This is their yarn and the Ghost Light base, which is merino silk, I want to say. Yes, super fine merino silk, 80/20 in the fishbowl colorway. And I'm knitting this as a sample, and I have run into a little bit of a problem. Here are the beads that I'm using, and they are from Bead Wrangler, which is 7beads.com. And this is all I have left for beads. That's not a lot. I have enough to finish out the repeat I'm working on, and then you do another partial repeat. So I have enough beads for those, but not to go further. And you're supposed to go until you have about 25% of your yarn left. Well, I have substantially more than that left. But I talked to Steve, and he said, you know, if I thought it would look okay without the beads in the repeat, which I don't. I think that would look totally strange to keep going with this part of the shawl and not have beads in it, because it has beads in it. And I actually used beads more sparingly than it calls for in the pattern. It calls for a lot more bead placement, but when I looked at the tube of beads when I started, I was like, I don't think I have enough for that. So I'm going to finish out the repeat, do the next part, and then move on to the next chart and work it from there. Some modifications that I've made to the pattern, not really modifications, but it does call for beading all along this lace edging too, which I didn't do because I didn't want to run out of beads. But that's the only thing that I've changed. This will be smaller than called for, but it's also lace, so it will stretch out a good deal this way and a good deal this way. So it's not going to be tiny, it's just going to be smaller than the pattern calls for. But it's also a booth sample, so I think that it's not the worst thing ever for it to be a little bit smaller than the pattern calls for. And, you know, if people ask about the pattern, Steve can always tell them that the pattern is written to go bigger and use more yarn if the knitter wants to. So yeah, I am. Did I tell you I was only 7 rows away from the next section? Because that's how many more rows I need to work, and then I will be starting that section. And then after that section is the border. It's turning out very nicely. The yarn is really, really lovely. Holds up to being tinked and frogged very well. Yeah, it's worked on US size 3, 3.25 millimeter needle. And I have this piece of hair that has been driving me crazy for like 3 weeks now. I hate when that happens. So what else did I work on? The Raptor socks a little bit. I don't remember how far I was last time I showed it to you. I maybe had an inch done this in between. So I've been working this very slowly. This is a sock. It's Raptor by Jenny Stamen. The yarn that I'm using is White Birch Fiber Arts in the I Eats Me Spinach colorway. You can kind of tell that it wants to be a sock when it grows up. Kind of looks like a sock. It's knit sideways and on a bias, so it's starting to look sock-ish, but it's also twisting weirdly, which is really exciting. It's pretty simple so far. Hopefully I did all of the math correct, because the math is crucial to getting good fit. So hopefully I did that all correctly, so that I will have a pair of socks to wear when I finish this one and make the second one. This was my goal sock to finish in the first quarter, which I don't know if that's gonna happen. I doubt that that's going to happen. This will probably go over into the next quarter, but next week I am going to show the possible options for the project bags to start my second quarter socks out of. So voting will commence next week for that, and I might just have 2 pairs of socks on the go for me. We'll see. The only drawback of this pattern is that it has purl back rows, so I'm sure that's why it's taking me time. It's not difficult, it's actually pretty simple, but purl back rows. I worked on a very little bit the Josie Socks by Jenna Meyer. Did I tell you that this was more? I did. I told you about the yarn. I didn't tell you about the needles though. I knew I was forgetting something. So these are the Addie sock rockets in the 2.5 millimeter needle size, and I'm enjoying working with the Addies. I don't know if I love them as much as the Hayas, but I do like them a lot, and I can see that they are going to get a lot of use in my knitting life, especially for the heavier fingering weights, I think these 1.5s will be nice because Peyton's Croy, the fabric is a little bit stiff when I knit them on ones, but it's too loose when I knit them on twos, so this 1.5 will be brilliant for that. Okay, now on to Josie by Jenna Meyer. I was here, so I only put on about 1 inch on this second sock, which is fine. It's very heavily patterned on the front of the foot and leg, so it's going to take time to make progress. And when I've been able to think, I've been focusing on the shawl because that obviously takes precedent. But yeah, that's another inch. The yarn is beautiful. It's Science Monkey Mercantile in Rosalind Franklin's Overexposed Photograph, which I love this color so, so much. And I'm working it on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles. Really clear pattern, just a lot. It's a very long pattern repeat, but it's mirrored on either side of a central divider, so that makes it a little bit easier. At least it's not all the stitches across are different things. I started a pair of tube socks. These are Mara's Christmas socks. They're not very fancy, not very special. It's 26 stitches per side, per needle, whatever you want to say. So a 52 stitch sock. And right now I'm just doing plain stockinette at this point. My plan is to use the round counts like I did for Gabriel's. It'll be 40, 40. But then I think I'm just going to keep going 40 and 40 for her because I know she wants really long socks. So it shouldn't be a problem to make her really long socks. So 40 rounds stockinette, 40 rounds first ribbing, 40 rounds the next ribbing, and then 40 rounds that ribbing after. I don't know if that's going to take me all the way across the sock or if there will be another ribbing section after that. I can't remember. But that's what I'm doing, and this is Leading Men Fiber Arts in their sock base, which I don't remember which one that is. Nope, can't remember. In the royalty colorway, I had a lot of yarn left over after I made the Galaxy Mittens test knit. So, and Mara picked it out of the stash for her socks. I also worked on the Care Bear cross stitch a little bit, and I don't know where the cover photo is right now, but this is what he's looking like so far. This is Bedtime Bear, and I have all of the outlining done for the star and the bear, and I've started filling in the shade work a little bit up here. There's a highlight color and a shadow color, and so that's all finished up here, and you can see the shadow color is starting down here. And then I started the muzzle, and this white section in here is, this bottom portion is fully crossed, fully filled in, and then this needs the cross back. So slowly making progress, jumping all over the place in colors because I can't just work one color forever. It would drive me crazy. And I will probably start the cloud this week. I think just a little bit of cloud on the bottom of the feet, or maybe the heart balloon at the top. We'll see. But I'm making okay progress. Not great, but okay. That's very cute. I'm excited for it to be finished and fully finished and all that good stuff. And then I also worked on the blanket for Steve's mom. So I don't remember what it looked like last time I showed it to you, but I'm on the border, and I'm on the second round of the border. And I think there's going to be about 10 rounds of border, maybe less. I don't know. I'm going to get to 4 rounds of border and then measure it again and refigure out how I need to work it. So I'm going to do I'm going to finish out this round in this color, which is Bone Care & Simply Soft. Both colors are Care & Simply Soft. And then I'm going to go back to this autumn red color for a couple rounds. And then figure out how I want to incorporate the two colors together. I don't know if I'm going to finish with Bone or if I'm going to throw in another stripe of Bone and finish with the red. It's all very organic, this blanket crocheting process. I'm using a size J hook and kind of making it up as I go. I just want to get the 50-inch by 60-inch throw blanket size, and we'll see from there. I worked on my modular projects this week. Yay! Because that was a struggle while I was sick. This is Barn Raising Square number 63. And this is the Where's the Coat Twisted. I used real socks. And I also
used that to make my 20th mitered square. Did I show you this one? Did I show you number 19? I don't know, because I have 19 written down here, but this is obviously square 20 because 4 times 5 is 20. That's probably Haley. So, hi Haley. Like a boom. I have one more row and then I'm the first quadrant of the square. How exciting is that? Pretty exciting. There is that. And then I did some hexapuffs. And I appear to have misplaced one in the last, 10 minutes. Because I thought I had, there it is. I have 5. So no celebratory, just 4 of the brown ones. And then 1 of the blue sport weight ones. And that brings me up to 485 hexapuffs. I'm getting there. Just need to, I haven't been running breaks at work very frequently lately, so that takes up like 20 minutes of my knitting time that I usually use toward modular type projects. So I just need to make more time during the day. I just don't have that much time during the day right now. I'm sure you can tell that my progress elsewhere has been lacking. Oh, I did pick up one other thing and I forgot to put it in my show notes. Because I finished this and I wanted to keep spinning, I picked up the Hufflepuff's Cup colorway by Gourmet Stash, and I did, half an hour of spinning this week. So not a ton, and I'm spinning it super fine. But this colorway is very, very pretty, and the spin is lovely. The fiber prep is wonderful, and I'm excited to see all of those plied together. I'm going to spin one after the other, ply them, Navajo ply, so on themselves. And Mara does not care that I'm recording. Just a moment. I have a new thing this week. So I didn't collect the mail when I was sick. That was the kids' job. And they just set all of the mail in piles, and it was Steve's job to go through and find the bills. And so I had mail sitting there for I don't know how long. And one of the things that was sitting there from when I was sick was a package, and I hadn't ordered anything. So I opened it, and it is a set of Addy Turbo sock rockets in the 2.25 millimeter size, because Shelly, who gave me the first pair of sock rockets that I had, wanted to get me the size that I normally use, so I would be better able to compare them to Hi-Hi's and Chow-Goos, which is so sweet. So nice of her to get them, and I am excited to start using them. So excited that I already know what project I'm going to make with these. It's another pair of tube socks because, that way there aren't a lot of variables going into how the needles work, and
going to start I'm going to start them maybe today, maybe in a couple days. I am making tube socks for one of Steve's sisters, and she has small feet, and this is going to be for toes and maybe for the cuff. I don't know, I haven't decided. It's the brown that I was making the Hex Puffs out of. So I'm going to make the toes out of this, and I only have a 50-gram ball of the main color of yarn, which is why I don't know if I'll be using that for more than the toes. But it is Plymouth Yarn Company Happy Feet in color number 12. So that's the tag. And here is the yarn, which I am currently winding into a ball from my ball winder using a pen as a Nasta pin. So it's very autumnal, very pretty. I really, really like these colors, but I don't think I could eke out a pair of socks for myself with 50 grams. Maybe, but they would be really, really short. And I don't mind short socks, but I kind of like a little bit longer of a cuff. I will wear very short socks, but I also have a high arch, so I have to be really careful not to shortchange my heel and stuff. So anyway, that's why she's getting those socks, and also why I'm sad about my ball winder, because now I have to wind this yarn by hand. It's not terrible. It's only 50 grams, but I do have a 100-gram ball of yarn that I want to wind for an upcoming project. I'm like, oh, it's gonna take forever. I've been winding this for like 3 days. Just, you know, a few wraps here and there. It could be done if I would just sit down and do it, but no. I can't just sit down and do anything. That is my problem. I can't remember if I had started this book last week. I think I had. The Crimson Crown by Cinda Williams Chima.
I made Christmas socks for Haley.
Go ahead, you make Christmas socks for Haley. This is book number 4 in the 7 Realms series, and I'm not very far in it. I haven't been reading very much this week. I think that I'm a little bit booked out since my sickness, since that's what I did when I was sick, was read a ton of things. Look at that hair, it's so ridiculous. But I'm enjoying it so far. It's very good. I like the characters. I really, really like the main characters a lot. So that helps. And I'll continue reading away. The problem is it's book 4, so I don't want to talk about what's happening in case someone else wants to read the series, because it's book 4. That's a lot of things, a lot of history to lead to the place where it is. So if I start talking about it, I might spoil something. Just suffice to say that I like it enough to continue on to book 4, and I'm hoping that the library has book 5 so I can get that out shortly-ish. I think that is all I have for you this week. I'm totally out of practice, so I'm sure this was very rough, but hopefully next week will be better, and I will see you then. Hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string. Bye!